Mr. Fallon. Today's Sunday and we're here reading Wayside School's Falling Down, doing the spot run, hearing about Chapter 16, Love and a Dead Rat. Damon was in love with one of the girls in his class. Can you guess which one? He thought about her all the time. Myron threw a red ball to Damon. It bounced off his face. Huh, said Damon. Why didn't you catch the ball, asked Myron. What ball, asked Damon. The one that hit you in the face, said Myron. Did a ball hit me in the face, asked Damon. Yes, said Myron. Oh, good, said Damon. I was wondering why my nose hurt. He had been thinking about the girl he loved. He was in love with Mrs. Jules. That was why he was always doing things for her, like passing out papers. He thought she was pretty and nice. He thought she was smart, too. In fact, he thought she was one of the smartest people in the class. After recess, he hurried back up the stairs. Hello, Damon, said Mrs. Jules. Hello, Mrs. Jules, he said. You're always the first one here, aren't you? Asked Mrs. Jules. Damon blushed and shrugged his shoulders. Do you need any help passing out papers? It's so nice of you to ask, said Mrs. Jules. I think you're nice, too, said Damon. Mrs. Jules gave him a stack of workbooks to hand out. Then she gave him a Tootsie Roll Pop from the coffee can on her desk for being so helpful. But don't eat it until after lunch, she said. I won't, he assured her. He ate lunch with Myron and DJ. He saved the Tootsie Roll Pop for last. Joy and Mauricia came up behind him. Hi, Damon, said Joy. How's your girlfriend? What, asked Damon. He turned red. Who are you talking about? I don't have a girlfriend. You're in love with Mrs. Jules, accused Mauricia. You better watch out, said Joy. Mr. Jules might come after you. The two girls laughed. I don't know what you're talking about, said Damon. I'm not in love with Mrs. Jules. He looked to his friends for support. Myron shrugged. DJ smiled. Prove it, said Joy. Prove you're not in love with her. That's silly, said Damon. How can I prove I'm not in love with Mrs. Jules? Give her this, said Joy. She handed Damon a paper bag. Your lunch? Asked Damon. Look inside, said Mauricia. Inside the paper bag was a dead rat. Damon knew Mrs. Jules hated dead rats more than anything in the whole world. Put it on her desk, said Joy. If you don't, it means you love her, said Mauricia. I'm not in love with her, said Damon. Prove it, said Joy. Okay, I will, said Damon. The girls laughed. You don't have to put a dead rat in her desk, said DJ. We don't care, said Myron. You think I'm in love with her too, don't you? Asked Damon. Myron shrugged. DJ smiled. Some friends you are, said Damon. I'll show you. After lunch, he was the first one back in class. He carried Joy's paper sack. Hello, Damon, said Mrs. Jules. Did you have a nice lunch? It was all right, he muttered. Oh, would you mind getting the construction paper from the closet and putting it on my desk, asked Mrs. Jules. Thank you. Damon went to the closet and got the construction paper. He put it on her desk. Then when she wasn't looking, he opened her desk drawer and dumped the dead rat into it. He shut the drawer. Thank you, Damon, said Mrs. Jules. You're always so helpful. It's such a pleasure to have you in my class. Damon felt awful. Mrs. Jules read a story to the class. Damon couldn't pay attention. He kept wondering when she'd open her drawer. After the story, they had art. Everyone was supposed to make snowflakes. Damon folded his piece of construction paper in half. Mrs. Jules screamed. What's wrong, Mrs. Jules? Asked Joy. Somebody put a dead rat in my desk, said Mrs. Jules. I did, declared Damon. Damon, Mrs. Jules said with great surprise. Why? Because I hate you, said Damon. You're always making me do things for you. Oh, I see, said Mrs. Jules. Should I write my name on the board under discipline, he asked. No, that won't be necessary, said Mrs. Jules. That made him feel even worse. Why did I have to prove to myself to Joy, he wondered. I don't like Joy. I like Mrs. Jules. He felt rotten. When the bell rang, Damon waited for all the other kids to leave, then walked to Mrs. Jules' desk. She was grading papers. Yes, Damon. Do you want me to erase the board for you, he asked. That's all right, said Mrs. Jules. I'll do it myself. Damon sadly walked out of the room and down the stairs. When he reached the bottom, He turned and ran all the way back up to Mrs. Jewls' room. She was just putting on her coat. "I love you, Mrs. Jewls," Damon declared. "I'm sorry I put the dead rat in your desk. I did it because I didn't want everyone to know I love you. I'm sorry." "I love you too, Damon," said Mrs. Jewls. "You do? But what about Mr. Jewls?" "Just because I love Mr. Jewls, it doesn't mean I can't love you. Love is different from most things." She picked up a piece of chalk. "If I give you my piece of chalk, then I wouldn't have it anymore. But if I give you my love to someone, I end up with more love than I started with. The more love you give away, the more you have left." Damon smiled. "I love you, Mrs. Jewls," he said. He felt his heart fill up with more love. "I love you, Damon," said Mrs. Jewls. "This is getting disgusting," said the dead rat. It climbed on Mrs. Jewls' desk and walked out of the room. That was funny. Boys and girls, our sets for today. Tune in tomorrow, 6 a.m. Good Morning Muscles. Can't wait. It's going to be fun. And we're going to be reading chapter 17. It's called What?